In the heart of what was once a thriving village, now a smoldering ruin, a lone figure trudged through the ashes of war. Her name was Mama Ihotu, a woman bent not only by age but by the weight of unspeakable loss. The whispers of destruction lingered in the air, smoke curling like the cries of souls left behind. They had taken everything. Her husband had fallen to the first raid, her sons to a vengeful ambush, and her daughter to the chaos of the burning night. With nothing left but a tattered wrapper and a small bundle clutched to her chest, Mama Ihotu turned her back on the ruins of her life and began to walk. Where she was going, even she did not know. The gods, she thought, must surely despise her, for how else could one explain such cruelty? For days, she moved through the dense forest of Kogi State, her feet bleeding, her stomach hollow. The bush whispered around her, and the shadows felt alive, but she pressed on, for what choice did she have? At last, the gates of a kingdom rose before her. It was the kingdom of Okpono, a place she had only heard of in distant tales. Arrival at Okpono, shadows of doubt. The gates of Okpono were as foreboding as they were grand. Standing tall, they seemed to mark the line between survival and doom. Mama Ihotu approached, her frail form a stark contrast to the armed guards stationed there. Their eyes narrowed as she came into view, her figure silhouetted against the setting sun. The villagers, seeing her from afar, began to whisper. A stranger at their gates, ragged and broken, it was an ill omen. Some said she was a spy, others a bringer of curses. Mama Ihotu, oblivious to their murmurs, entered the kingdom under wary gazes. The people of Okpono were suspicious by nature, their kingdom bordered by rival clans who often sought its downfall. For a woman to wander in from nowhere, carrying nothing but sorrow, was a sign they could not ignore. As days passed, unease began to grow. Children whispered tales of her being a witch, conjuring stories of glowing eyes and mysterious murmurs from the forest. The elders soon took note, for in Okpono, fear had a way of spreading like wildfire. One evening, beneath the faint light of a crescent moon, the elders gathered. Their decision was swift, their voices sharp. She is no ordinary woman, they declared. Her presence has unsettled the gods. Until she can prove she brings no harm, she must be cast out. And so, before the villagers, Mama Ihotu was brought to the council. She stood silent as the accusations fell upon her like stones. They called her a witch, a curse bringer, a harbinger of doom. When they had finished, she raised her head, her voice steady despite the tremor in her body. I am but a woman who has lost everything. If you must banish me, so be it. But know this, the gods are watching. Her words sent a chill through the crowd, but no one dared speak. With haste, the guards led her away, through the twisting paths of the forest, to an abandoned house on the edge of Okpono's borders. The house was nothing more than a crumbling structure swallowed by the bush. Its walls were cracked, its roof half gone, and vines crept through every crevice. The air smelled of decay, and the only sounds were the rustling leaves and the distant cries of night creatures. Here, Mama Ihotu was left, alone and forgotten. Yet, it was not despair that filled her heart, it was resolve. She cleared a small patch of land behind the house, using her bare hands to pull out weeds and roots. It was there, amidst the chaos of nature, that she discovered the herb. It grew in a corner, almost hidden, its leaves unlike any she had seen before. The plant gave off a faint, sweet aroma, and when she crushed a leaf between her fingers, it left a tingling warmth on her skin. The knowledge of herbs had been passed down in her family for generations. Though she did not recognize this particular plant, something told her it was no ordinary weed. She began to cultivate it, nurturing it with care, as though it were the last piece of her broken family. Back in Okpono, a shadow fell over the kingdom. It began with a few villagers falling ill, their skin covered in angry red rashes, their bodies burning with fever. Soon, the sickness spread like wildfire. The palace was not spared. The king's only heir, Prince Dorogeyo, fell into a deep and restless coma. Panic gripped the kingdom. The palace healers worked tirelessly, but their remedies did nothing. The gods, it seemed, had turned their backs on Okpono. "It is the woman," they said. "The witch we banished has cursed us." The king, Oba Adideo, was a man torn between reason and desperation. His son's life hung by a thread, and the weight of his people's fear pressed heavily on his shoulders. One fateful evening, as the prince's condition worsened, a desperate elder suggested something unthinkable. What if the old woman knows something? She has lived in the forest, among the herbs. Perhaps she holds the cure. Though reluctant, the king sent his guards to fetch Mama Ihotu. They found her tending to her garden, her hands stained with the green sap of the mysterious herb. When she was brought before the king, the court erupted in chaos. "She is the one who cursed us," someone shouted. "Silence," the king roared. His voice echoed through the hall as he turned to Mama Ihotu. "You claim to be innocent," he said. "Now prove it. My son's life is at stake." Mama Ihotu stepped forward, her expression calm but unreadable. She held up a small bundle of the herb, its leaves glistening in the torchlight. "This plant," she said, "is unlike any other. I have tested its properties, and I believe it can heal your son." The palace healer examined the herb, skepticism etched on his face. But with no other options, they prepared a potion from it and gave it to the prince. The room held its breath as the concoction was administered. For hours, nothing happened. But then, as dawn broke, the prince stirred. His fever subsided, and his eyes fluttered open. As the kingdom rejoiced, the focus shifted back to Mama Ihotu. Though she had saved the prince, suspicion lingered. "Who are you, truly?" the king asked, his eyes narrow. Mama Ihotu looked at him, her gaze steady. "I am only a woman," she said, "but the gods do not reveal their plans to mortals." Outside, the forest seemed to stir, as if holding secrets yet to be uncovered. And somewhere in the shadows, unseen forces watched, waiting for the next chapter to unfold.